Hey everybody, it's Dr. Cindy Stark here. How are y'all doing? I'm coming in here live for my Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Facebook Lives, talking about everything subconscious mind, everything your brain and how it works. And today I really wanted to talk to you about something that I saw up close and personal with my own two eyes, so to speak. On Sunday, I attended a class from 9 to 5 up in Chicago, get level 2 Reiki certified. And for any of you guys that don't know what Reiki is, it is an energy practice developed thousands of years ago in Japan, and it works with the power of intention. And it is all about healing your energy in your body, your vital life force. Hey, Lynn, how are you doing? It's good to see you here. I'm glad that I just got right into the topic today. And for those of you who don't know, there are all kinds of different energy centers in our bodies that are called chakras, and there are 88,000 of them. 400 at least are significant, but there are seven main ones that go from really the right at the top of our heads all the way down to our right at the very, very bottom of our butt, right below your sacral area. And so it's all about aligning the energy in those. Hey, Deanne, it's good to see you here. And it is as a traditional Western trained doctor, going more instead of the just the purely physical healing of the body, more going into the energy healing of the body. It has been very challenging, for lack of a better word, to learn how to feel other people's energy. It's not something I would say that has come very naturally to me. Maybe it is always a learned skill. But as I decided that this is something that I really wanted to do, because after being a doctor for 30 years, as an internal medicine physician at the bedsides of the hospitals of America, I really had a strong awareness and sense at least 10 years ago that what I was doing at the bedsides of America, with my physical tools, meaning the medicines that I was ordering to be administered both IV and oral, okay? And then the surgeries that I was recommending, the chemotherapy agents that I was recommending people get, that was really only healing a part of those of my patients. And uh, it was so interesting to me that as I was going through, and I had three different jobs as a doctor before I noticed this, that despite the best, latest, and greatest physical medications and surgeries and procedures that you could recommend to your patients, they just kept coming back. And, we would call them frequent flyers. And I said to myself, this medicine is not healing them. These treatments are not healing them. True healing. It is masking a symptom, and it might be temporarily alleviating a pain, or making, or my favorite was that it made blood work numbers look better and vital sign numbers look better, so that when you're charting, which is a big part of your life when you're a doctor or a nurse, the numbers look better, so your patient looks like they're getting healed. But then you kind of let them go off into their own, and then they come right back. I always said this to my patients as I was getting ready to discharge them. I said, listen, we got to change everything over to medicines that you can take by mouth and not needing your IV, because when I send you home, I want to have given you 24 hours of a trial run, and we're going to test out your wings, because when you leave and you fly away from me, I don't want rubber bands to be stuck to your feet and you bounce right back into the emergency room needing my help again, because that's just exhausting to you as a patient and also to your loved ones. Just going home thinking that you're healed and then coming right back. I mean, have any of y'all ever been in the hospital and thought that you were better, and then the doctor and the staff discharge you home, and then you come right back? I don't know if that's just something that I uniquely have seen over and over again. Yeah, Lynn, rubber band feet. But we call them bounce backs, and literally in the medical field, if a patient bounces back within 7 days in some practices I've been involved in, and 24 hours in other practices that I've been involved in, not only can you not even charge, you can't even charge the insurance company for that hospital readmission if they're a bounce back. And then as a doctor, you have to, even if it's not your day to be on call, you have to take care of that patient again because you did not discharge them at a time when they were able to stay home and stay home effectively and efficiently. So, anyway, it's a big issue. And why am I going into this, talking about this? Well, because this concept of bounce backs is what made me realize that the tools and the methods that I had spent so much money and so many decades of my life training to deliver, right? Got that MD behind my name and the DEA number behind my name and the NPI number and the whole nine. It wasn't, I just didn't really feel like it was really healing the people. And so I started on this journey and I just tried to become very open. I used to wear a bracelet that says, I am listening. And that's what I did to the universe, for at least about 4 years. I just listened. I would just listen to anything that God was sending to me, anything that the universe was providing me, anything that was coming in front of me. And I just said, I am listening, I am listening. And I would just get really quiet and focused and just try to really pay attention. What else is out there? How else can I heal people? And I didn't want to throw away a part of my training, right? Because I had spent 30 years becoming a doctor. I remember telling my nephews when I was like second year medical student that I was in like the 20 or second year of residency. I was in the 21st grade because he was in the second and third grade and I was in 21st grade because I'd already at that point spent 21 years on my education. Hey Patty, so good to see you this morning. Good morning to you. And so, what kind of came up to me is that I didn't want to stop, you know, just throw all my medical training and all that time and energy and money and effort down the drain. So I just decided to, in parallel, for the time being, right here at age 52, I'm reporting to you in real time. At this moment in time, I have decided to retire from full-time medicine, but continue doing it part-time. But then in parallel, try to find something I can do just with the power of my own hands at the bedsides of America, and also um, in response to a lot of the emotional and psychological um, and mental and physical ailments that I see people in my own life. Okay. I wanted to develop a set of skills that I could practice in real time, just with the power of my own hands, both with my patients and people in my community. And so I found Reiki, and it's been very fascinating. And interesting hearing about things I never knew existed before. I never knew this stuff existed inside of our bodies. I had heard of chakras. I had heard of acupuncture. To me, they're kind of the same, where you can manipulate energies inside your body. But you can't do this without the power of community. And I guess that's what I saw with my own two eyes on Sunday. Hey Michelle, it's good to see you, girl. And then also a few Sundays ago when I got certified with level one. And so not only do you have to literally you have to get people in your hands, right? You have to have others around you to practice on, and so you can feel what that energy feels like. And there's all these different energetic bodies. There's 7 layers of energy around you. You get your physical body and then your ethereal body, and it just keeps going on and on and on until you're getting to celestial. Um, and these different layers of our body are different centimeters away from our physical body. Okay. And I don't know if any of y'all have noticed this, but type in the comments if you have. When you um, go into a room and something really emotionally charging has just happened, like a really heartbreaking or angering, conversation has just happened, and you walk into the room. You ever walked into a room and said, God, you could cut that energy in that room with a knife. It was just like so intense. Well, that's what I'm talking about. And Lynn is a Reiki master, and she's saying just, and she's helping me with some words to help y'all explain what it is that this uses, the power of community and oneness, and energy, frequency, and vibration. Yeah, every one of us has a vibration to us, and so when you have really emotionally charged conversations, you that also affects the energy around people. And I um, I know lots of times in my life, and my mom even more, I grew up watching her, and we would always say we had ESP. And she would say that somebody was on her mind, and she would call them, because, back then we didn't have texting. And so she would call them, whoever was on her mind. And sure enough, they had, someone just had a terrible diagnosis, or someone had just lost their job, or something like that. Great, Deanne. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's experiencing this. So yeah, you can. It's the same thing. It's this, and it really connects all of us, right? And I believe at this moment in time, it's the end of September 2022, so we're 2 years after the declaration of this pandemic, and so many of us kind of got into this phase of our lives where we were forced inside the house, and we were forced away from community, and we're really all suffering as Americans, and in the world we're all suffering because we're meant to be in community with each other. And what I saw Sunday, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's I think, I mean, I'm not sure. I know in my personal life, when the women have had ESP more than the men, but maybe I'd like to do some research on that and see if women in general have that capability more than men. I don't know, but I know that what the pandemic did to all of us, and I can just speak as, as a mother and as a physician, but it just it took everybody away from being in community with each other, all of us eating together, and it made all of us go inside, right? And it's funny because the only place we could ever meet up was in the grocery store. I always thought that was so interesting. Tell everybody to stay inside, but everybody can go into the grocery store. So we were all swapping germs in the grocery store, the people that did the grocery shopping. But all the way down to, I just want to kind of tell you some things that I've experienced, and that I've studied in my own life. Even when you're preparing a meal, if you aren't preparing your meal in the home for the people that are in your home, and you're just getting everything delivered from other places, do you know that even the digestive enzymes in your stomach and intestines, even in your mouth, don't get activated the way that they're supposed to if you just go and order food delivered to your house? It takes about an hour, maybe 30 minutes or an hour, of your body, you're listening to, like, the onions being chopped up, or the potatoes being chopped up, or the meat, the vegetables being prepared. And when you hear it, it sends signals for your body to prepare itself for an incoming meal. And when you start smelling it, so first you hear it, right? First you see it, probably, then you hear it, then you smell it. And every bit of that prepares yourself for the meal that's about to happen. And when you don't have that, and when everything's happening outside of you, then the first thing that your body knows about is that, boom, the food is in your stomach. You're not getting anywhere near the nutrition that you're supposed to be getting, and it actually makes people overweight, because it's kind of a mismatch between micronutrients and macronutrients. It's a whole thing. I could talk about it more in detail if anybody was interested. But to me, it's the same exact thing, food and digestion, as being in community and feeling healthy and whole and alive and having that vibrant health. When we're not around other people, every one of us are energetically connected. It's energy connections. We all have them. Hey, Janice, and hey, Jenny. It's good to have y'all here too. We're talking about energy today, and community, and togetherness, and just the power. We think that every one of us are just, you can just take yourself out and out of community and put yourself alone, and you're going to thrive the same way that you do as being out there in the world. And I think the pandemic tried to, in the way that we all made decisions, we thought that that was going to be okay, but it really wasn't okay. We're suffering at and I don't have the rates off the top of my head. I didn't do the research this morning, but the amounts of anxiety and depression and even teenage suicide. I mean, all those numbers went off the charts when this happened. And so this is a kind of a public service announcement and a plea for everybody to get back into community with each other and realize that even though you've been having to live this way in some way, shape, or fashion for the past 2 years, it's time to wake up and stop doing that. I went for a walk this morning, and there were teenagers at the side of the corner, and none of them were speaking to each other. None of them, they all had their faces in their phones. And then I heard my own kids told me about this situation at the Tate Student Center at University of Georgia, where my daughter was at Starbucks getting a coffee, and she got all the way. She waited in this 35-minute line. Finally, got up to the counter, ordered her food or her mocha, whatever it was she was ordering. And she realized at that moment, after it had gotten delivered to her, that she did not have her credit card. And because of the girl behind her didn't have AirPods in her ears or earphones in her ears, she was able to hear and see what was going on. And she offered to pay for my daughter's coffee. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I'll Venmo you back. I just don't have my credit card with me." And my son, listened to this story. He said, "Yeah, Mom, that's why I always make sure to never ever put anything in my ears as I'm walking around campus, because I don't ever want to miss out on an opportunity to be of service to somebody and of help to somebody." And it's then that's a beautiful thing in and of itself, and a blessing that I got to hear that story. And I count myself as so grateful and blessed that I get to hear stories like that. But it's the same thing that we're doing when we stay inside the house and we never ever talk to anybody in real life. And yeah, and Lynn is saying time alone is great, but togetherness helps us to be healthier mentally, physically, and spiritually. That's right. And if any of y'all are catching this talk live, type in hashtag live. And if you're catching it on the replay, type in hashtag replay. I forgot to say that. And also, I'm going to make this shareable so that if it touches you or means anything to you, then chances are it's going to mean something to the people that you're friends with, and you can share it to try to get this message out. But even if it's something just little, like in the waiting rooms across America, just talk to somebody. I in that Reiki level 2 certification, so I went to class for 8 hours from 9 to 5. We had something called a Reiki share, where all of us were doing practicing Reiki on each other. We had 3 tables, and there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people around the table, and then 1 client on the table. And so each of us could feel, get practice feeling that energy of the body. And I'll talk about that in a minute, Janice. She's asking, what if connections are negative with those people? Good question. That's one reason why I wanted to come in here and talk today, because I had that. But anyway, seeing all the different people in the class. There was 11 students that day, and then also for Reiki share. Goodness gracious, we had I don't know, maybe 10 more people come in for that, and so when I saw how all of us came together that day and how we were learning from each other. So we went around the room. It's just incredible ritual. There's so much power in ritual and in community. But we went around the room doing this certain ritual that I won't go into all the details, but we shared our story and what brought us into getting Reiki level 2 certified, because all of us had already gone through level 1. And I had shared that story I just shared with you about how after 30 years of practicing medicine, I needed to find another way to heal people, because I had come to the point where I realized that my methods were not truly healing anybody. It was just putting band-aids on, and they go home and they do the exact same thing they've always done, and they come right back. And so the way that the Reiki helped me, and just becoming aware of the spiritual meaning of of ailments that people suffer from, is it helps me have a deeper conversation. And a deeper conversation means more face to face time, and more face to face time means a more, like, a deeper emotional connection. And I literally am giving my patients at the hospital journaling exercises for like homework now, and I'm really telling them, or offering a different explanation for why they keep having chest pain, recurrent chest pain over and over again. And your coronary arteries are clean. There's nothing wrong with your coronary arteries. What is it that's breaking your heart? What conversations are happening around your family that you don't feel like you are able to have any a successful input into? And what things are just breaking your heart that are going on around you, and they'll think about it and they're like, oh yeah, there is something, such and such. And then I'll offer them alternative ways of dealing with that, of just of letting certain things go, because you don't have the power in your heart and in your mind. um Thank you, Melissa, that is so sweet. I feel like I'm the luckiest doctor in the world getting those patients. Um, but the the power that I'm able, and the depth of spiritual healing, and just an awareness of another, alternative thought pattern that you can have, um, for these recurrent illnesses, especially when people come to me 3 and 4 times in 1 week. I know there is nothing wrong, that there was nothing wrong with that lady's coronaries. She needed some deep breathing techniques, and she needed the power of letting go, and a book, and I gave her some meditations to listen to. She was 82 years old. She'd never had a doctor talk to her like that in her life. I mean, and trust me, I know that with 100% certainty, because she had been in the emergency room for 3 days, 3 days that particular week. And she finally, after I offered her this alternative explanation for this recurrent chest pain, she finally stopped coming to the emergency room. Thank goodness for her. I mean, of course, as doctors, we never mind treating people, and we always want to, rule everything out that we can rule out. But when it's not something physical, and it's something, emotional and spiritual, there is no medicine in the world that's going to help them. And so anyway, and Janice was bringing up something a second ago. She said, "What if those people around you are negative?" Um, so that's what I was going to say, is so when I decided that I wanted to do something different with my healing practices, I the very first thought that came to my mind, knee jerk reaction, is I am all I can say is that I will not go through any more education. I will not. And I put my hands on my hips and I said, I'm not going to spend any more time. I'm not going to spend any more money. And I'm not going to be around any other people, because I don't know if anybody else has had this happen to them. And, you can write in me in the comments if it has. Have you ever had an idea that you wanted to go through some education, and maybe even let's just say in high school, and something negative happened to you at school? I could type in me 1,000 times, 1,000 times for high school, 1,000 times for medical school, 1,000 times me for graduate school, 1,000 times me for residency also. And there's just so much negativity around you, and things that happen when you kind of give yourself that, golly, what is that word I'm looking for? It's not humility, and it's not courage, but you're making yourself vulnerable when you succumb to the vulnerability, and you say, there's something I don't know. Yes, Cynthia, Cindy and I were in she and I were classmates since 6 years old, so she and I probably had the same things happen to us. We were in high school, and and I mean, all the way from first grade to 12th grade, right, Cindy? And you know, and there's so many negative things that happen, and I just said, I'm not doing that to myself anymore. I'm going to be an island, I'm going to be a cocoon, and I am not going to have anything else negative happen to me. And so whatever I do, I'm not going to go and spend money and time and be around other people. That's what I said. Well, little did I know, I remember I told you I used to, for 4 years, I wore that bracelet that said, I am listening. And the universe and God kept showing me over and over again the power of Reiki. And I'm like, And then I experienced it for myself, and I said, "Oh well, I've got to go through this. I've got to succumb to the vulnerability and actually go and take a class." And and sure enough, it was. I'm thankful to call you my friend too, Cindy. And sure enough, it was 8 hours. About 60 days apart. And you go to a class. You meet 11 amazing people. You meet two amazing teachers. Nothing bad happened, guys. It wasn't that much money, it wasn't that much time, and nothing bad happened. But if I just would have like put my feet in the sand and said, I'm not going to do this because of what I thought was going to happen, then I would have missed out. But the people that I met there, especially this past time, because I opened up and said that I was a doctor and I decided to, find another healing art. There was this gentleman, I don't know how old he was, it doesn't matter, but he came up to me and he said, "I have to show you a picture of my gallstones." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And anyway, I won't go into all the details, but this young man in the class had undergone this particular, certification process because he was having life threatening, debilitating seizures, and he was his own best healer, and was trying to find reasons why he was having these. And one thing led to another, led to another, led to another, and they were trying to take his gallbladder out, and he found a way to take all the gallstones out of his gallbladder himself through elimination, through the gastrointestinal tract. And he showed me them. It was pretty disgusting, but he showed me a picture of them on the toilet paper, how he had expelled them himself through this protocol. And he said, you are the way, you are the seer, you're the person that I was meant to come here to meet, so you can help people know there is another way to get rid of gallstones besides just acting like your gallbladder is dispensable, just like a lot of people act like your tonsils are dispensable and your uterus is dispensable and your appendix is dispensable. If you want to go to your grave with a lot of your organs intact, you can, because there are alternative methods. So if anybody's suffering from gallstones, hit me up and I'll share this book with you. So Lynn is saying physical symptoms come forth to help us see where we are energetically blocked and needing help with our body, mind, and soul. That's right. So yeah, but Janice, what I was going to say is, you and Jenny and Lynn are both talking about it, creating boundaries. When you raise your vibration, you're gonna be able to see things from an objective point of view, and I've started a 12-week transformational program about a year ago, where we are actually rewiring our mind. We're increasing our energetic vibration, and we're learning how to create boundaries around ourselves to keep those negative people out. And so you're going to come in contact with negative people I would imagine every day of our lives, but it's almost like you are raising your vibration to a level, to such a high level, that they are coexisting right next to you and they don't even see that you exist. It's almost like you're hiding in plain sight because you are just leading your life from a place of self-love, and you would never know how to do this, in my opinion, because I didn't, and hundreds of people in my community haven't, unless you learn how to rewire your brain, realize what it is in there that's keeping you negatively like bound down in this low vibration, and keeping you in this victim mentality where all you're seeing is the victim mentality. And once you can rise above that and get rid of all of these negative influences, and see how you are actually dumbing yourself down and keeping yourself low, once you can kind of break through those shackles and break all that off, and it starts with your brain first, and then we together in community during the 12 weeks we help each other grow, day by day. Then the people are there, but they're not bothering you because they you don't even, it's almost like you're putting this static cling up, next to you, this static guard, where you're repelling all those people, and what you're drawing into yourself instead are just people that are like-minded with you. And it is really magical and amazing. um and the Soul Circle Academy, it we are transforming you inside out with your mind and your body and your soul. And it's I just don't think. I really wonder sometimes. I've really been sitting back with a lot of quiet time and contemplation lately, thinking about how and we were talking about this in the Reiki certification class on Sunday too, where there's so much of what we do. It's just we're kind of on repeat behavior where we just have these repeating behaviors and we don't even really know why we're doing things. We're just doing it. And it's just because that's what our mom and dad taught us. And they taught us that because that's what their mom and dad taught them to do. And it's not anything that's good for us. One of the teachers were talking about fast food and how we're so trusting as Americans. I can't speak for other countries because I'm an American, but we're so trusting as Americans at that all the fast food places that are around us, that yeah, everything is just like dumbing us down. We're running on autopilot. We have these habitual autopilot recurring behaviors, and we just go and we get the same food and the same crap, and we're so hungry spiritually and physically and emotionally, but we think that this gives us connection to people. We think that television is what is giving us all the knowledge, perfect, clear knowledge. They're just paying for our eyeballs so that they can program us into their ways of thinking. And the food. I mean, I believe we're all starving for nutrition, and we're wondering why we're hungry all the time and why we're so fat, but we're also malnourished. So it's anyway, I could go off into a whole nother tangent of that right there, but that's really not what the point of this talk was today. It's all about the power of togetherness, and I wanted to impress upon you guys. There's a torus field that goes around each of us. Our heart center has so much more electricity in it than any other organ in our body. And there's at least 3 feet around us, so 3 feet to the left and 3 feet to the right, a torus field of electromagnetic radiation that of love that generates from our heart. And if you could just, I just challenge you, if you could just for 1 minute every day before you get out of bed, even this is when I do it, just focus on that love in your heart and sending out gratitude for every blessing that you have in your life. And that strengthens that field. And then when you're around, you will just bring other people in and everybody grows stronger together. Yeah, Patty, I believe that too. We're too trusting of the FDA, the doctors, and our government. You need to be your own best advocate. And I would love, love, love nothing more than to usher you into the best version of health for yourself that you've ever had, both your mind and your body, and add in your soul too. Just reach out to me. Give me a direct message. You can email me. I'll drop my website link into the comments below. And just know there's a better way out there. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you don't have to live that way anymore. I have I have helped really increase the accountability and awareness of everything that we go through in this life. And it starts with making sure that we get rid of everything that we're accidentally deleting and generalizing and distorting in our brain. And the God, that was the very first thing that He created, was the neural tube, and that became our brain. And so the faster we can learn how to run our brain, the better. But you guys, it's been such a pleasure coming in here and talking to you this morning. Thank you for all the interaction. If I didn't get to your comments, I will get to them after this is over. But it's my honor and my pleasure to come in here and help people every Tuesday at 10. And I'll be in here next Tuesday at 10. And I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Yeah, Lynn saying, start your healing today. It only takes one call, and see what we have to offer for you. You are worth it. Yes, if you contact me, I will get in touch with you and see if you're ready to do the work necessary to redesign the life that was meant for you, because you and only you can live your life. But I love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you next week.